Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again today. Quick little recap basically of the last month. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I got a video posted. Been crazy busy. Bees seem to be doing all right. Got one hive that's just busting at the seams. I've added second box. I've stopped feeding that one. Second hive that came as a nuke hive is it's doing all right. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just kind of hanging out. We'll get into that a little bit in a little bit. But just really wanted to just kind of do a recap of the last month or so. So April 13th, what you're seeing now, that was my very first video. That was when I got the bees. Great day, super exciting. That was my first hive. I was worried about these bees. Let me tell you, it was cold that day. The Beekeepers Association told me to install them. I had thought about just putting them in my garage and waiting until it warmed up a little bit, but they were like, no, get them in as soon as possible. It was drizzly, it was cold. I was like, this is a bad idea. And that is my strongest hive right now. They are just thumping. So awesome. So they're doing great. So that's kind of where we're at with that. So hanging in there and see where we go from here. Here we're going into week 2, very into week 1, going into week 2. The queen had been released. I was feeding. They were doing great. What I was blown away with is 1 week and maybe a little less than a week, and I'm using plastic foundation frames. These girls had already started drawing out comb. It was amazing how fast that they were working everything. It was exciting to see how fast they were working everything, and just amazing to me. The queen was looking good. She was already starting to lay eggs. It was so exciting this first week as a new beekeeper, being a little nervous about how this was going to play out, were the bees going to make it, especially I had installed them and it had been so cold. I wasn't even sure they were going to make it that first week, and they were just booming already, which goes to show what, now that I'm into almost week 6 now, how they're looking now. It's amazing. This is such a strong hive. I'm really hoping they maintain. It's been so fun, so exciting so far. Just getting to experience this and watch these bees do their thing. So very cool, very fun, and pretty much this was it on this week. I just kind of checked real quick, made sure the queen was good, saw that they were drawing, she was laying, and I kind of buttoned everything up, and we called it a day. It was exciting. Going into week 3, I got my nuke package, and these were Carniolans out of Walla Walla, and the queen was actually Carniolan queen out of Hawaii, which I thought was interesting. And this boxes, I had already transferred them. They came in a 10 frame mediums with two boxes, and I had transferred them into deeps. They still had the medium frames, but I had moved some of those foundations into the deep frames, hoping they would draw them out. I think this was the beginning of I don't want to say the end. I don't want to jinx these girls, but they have just not performed well since doing this. I'm actually contemplating pulling all of the medium frames, put all deeps in, keep the food on, keep them eating and drying out new wax and let them just rebuild. It's going to set them really far behind, but hopefully I can get them built up before winter. They just seem to be kind of not doing much right now, and so I don't know that if they keep not doing much that they're gonna make it to winter. So I'm wondering if just pulling all these medium frames, because at this point this week I just got done looking at them and most of the brood has hatched and there's no new brood. It's just nectar really, so I could probably get away with getting those frames out, letting them draw out on the new frames, and go from there and see what we have going. So interesting with those. I'm hoping that they are actually going to survive. It's funny, strange, not haha, that they are not as strong or doing as well as the package hive, but I think that's because I messed them up. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping I can get them built up, but at this juncture I do not know. Still learning. May 4th, this is ultimately where I decided to put my second box on both hives. Everything was looking pretty good. This is my hive 1, the package hive, and these guys are just amazing, just owning it. Every time I open this hive up, they are just active, doing great things. Blows my mind at how fantastic this hive has been from the get-go. No issues that I found with this hive yet. And so with how far everything has been drawn out with brood, wax, stores, everything was looking great. I went ahead and this was the day I put a second deep on this box, and yeah, I was pretty happy with it. Once we got that on, it was just letting them hang out. I moved that feeder up to the top box, and I was still feeding them at the time. They were just doing great. I have no complaints with this hive whatsoever. Doing fantastic stuff. These girls were just, I say were, they are just stomping. They're doing great things. So this is my happy hive. May 8th, I actually decided to go into my top deep checkerboard from my brood box down below. I took some of the capped brood from below and checkerboarded it to the top deep to help move the bees upstairs and get them going. The point of this was mostly just to help them get used to going up higher and get some of that brood up there. As the brood hatches, then they'll spread out. This worked really well. A week after I did this, almost all the frames were drawn,
more eggs were laid and more brood was being capped. It worked really well. So I was pretty happy with this outcome. So it wasn't too shabby. Good shot of the queen coming up right there. Made my day. I thought it was pretty funny that she was actually on the bottom of the frame, not on the frame itself. But still, it was good to see that she was doing quite well, and all looked perfect in this hive.